China, a country that's often misunderstood, underestimated, and sometimes even dismissed by the West. But here's the truth: China is not just a rising power, it's already a global superpower. And in many ways, it's more advanced than most people realize. From its jaw-dropping manufacturing capabilities to its cutting-edge technology, China is reshaping the world as we know it. So why do so many in the West still underestimate it? And what can we learn from China's rise? In this video, we're diving deep into China's economy, its production power, and its technological advancement. By the end, you'll see why China is a force to be reckoned with, and why the West needs to wake up to this reality. Let's get started. Let's begin with the obvious. China is the world's factory. It produces more goods than any other country on Earth. In fact, it manufactures nearly 30% of global output. That's more than the United States, Germany, and Japan combined. But here's the thing, it's not just about quantity. China has mastered the art of scaling production while maintaining quality. Take smartphones, for example. Apple's iPhones are designed in California, but they're made in China. Why? Because no other country can match China's ability to produce millions of units at such a high standard and at such a low cost. And it's not just electronics. From clothing to cars, from solar panels to steel, China dominates global supply chains. This isn't just about cheap labor anymore. Over the past 2 decades, China has invested heavily in automation, robotics, and AI-driven manufacturing. For example, take ChatGPT and now DeepSeek. These factories are no longer just sweatshops. They're some of the most advanced production facilities in the world, and this gives China a massive edge in the global economy. Now let's talk about China's economy. It's the second largest in the world, and it's on track easily to overtake the US in the next decade. But size isn't everything. What's truly impressive is how China has transformed its economy in such a short time. In the 1980s, China was a poor, agrarian society. Today, it's a global leader in trade, finance, and innovation. How did this happen? 2 words: strategic planning. China's government has invested trillions of dollars in infrastructure, education, and technology. Its high-speed rail network is the largest in the world, connecting cities and driving economic growth. Its ports handle more shipping containers than any other country in the world. And its tech hubs, like Shenzhen, are rivaling Silicon Valley easily. But here's what many in the West don't realize. China's economy isn't just about exports, it's also a massive consumer market. With a population of 1.4 billion people, China is home to a growing middle class that's hungry for everything from luxury goods to electric vehicles. This domestic demand is fueling innovation and giving Chinese companies a huge advantage. Companies like Huawei, Tencent, and BYD are now competing and often beating Western giants on the global stage. Now let's dive deeper into China's technological leadership, because this is where China is truly leaving the rest of the world in awe. For decades, the West has been seen as the undisputed leader in innovation, but China is rapidly closing the gap. And in many areas, it's already ahead. Let's start with 5G. If you've been following this tech world, you've probably heard about the US-China rivalry over the 5G technology. But here's the reality. China is winning this race. Huawei, a Chinese company, is one of the world's top providers of 5G infrastructure. Despite facing intense pressure and sanctions from the US, Huawei has to continue to innovate and expand its global footprint. China has already rolled out the world's largest 5G network, with over 2 million 5G base stations installed across the country. To put that into perspective, that's more than the rest of the world combined. This isn't just about faster internet, it's about laying the foundation for the next industrial revolution. 5G enables everything from smart factories to autonomous vehicles, and China is positioning itself as the global leader in this space. Now let's talk about AI. China is pouring billions of dollars into AI research, and it's paying off. In areas like facial recognition, China is light years ahead. Companies like SenseTime and MegV are developing AI systems that can identify individuals in seconds, even in crowded public spaces. But it's not just about surveillance. AI is being integrated into everyday life in China. In cities like Hangzhou and Shenzhen, AI is used to optimize traffic flow, reduce energy consumption, and even predict crime. These smart cities are a glimpse into the future, and China is building them at scale. Now let's talk about electric vehicles. China is the largest market for EVs in the world, and it's not even close. Companies like BYD, NIO, and XPeng are producing high-quality electric vehicles that are giving Tesla a serious competition. In fact, China produces more than half of the world's electric vehicles, and it's leading the charge in battery technology. China controls a significant portion of the global supply chain for lithium-ion batteries, which are essential for EVs and renewable energy storage. Companies like CAT-L are producing batteries that are cheaper, more efficient, and longer lasting than those made in the West. This gives China a massive advantage as the world transitions to clean energy. And then there's space. China's space program is one of the most ambitious in the world. In recent years, China has achieved milestones that not even the US and Russia haven't matched. It's built its own space station, Tiangong, which is now fully operational. It's landed a rover on the far side of the moon, a feat no other country has accomplished, and is planning a manned mission to Mars in the coming decades. Watch out, Elon Musk. But wait, there's more. China is also making a huge stride in quantum computing. In 2020, Chinese researchers claimed to have achieved quantum supremacy, a milestone where a quantum computer performs a calculation that's impossible for classic computers. This technology could revolutionize everything from cryptography to drug discovery, and China is at the forefront. What does all this mean? It means that China is no longer playing catch-up. It's setting the pace in some of the most critical technologies of the 21st century. And while the West debates and delays, China is building the future today. So, why does the West still underestimate China? This is a question that deserves a closer look, because understanding this mindset is key to understanding the global dynamics at play. Part of it is cultural bias. For decades, if not centuries, the West has seen itself as the center of innovation, progress, and power. This mindset has led to a kind of intellectual blind spot when it comes to China. Many in the West still view China as a country that merely copies ideas rather than creates them. But as we've seen, this simply is not true anymore. China has moved from being the world's factory to being the world's lab. It's innovating in areas like AI, quantum computing, and renewable energy at a pace that's hard for the West to keep up with. Yet, this shift hasn't fully registered in the Western consciousness. Why? Because change is hard to accept, especially when it challenges long-held beliefs about superiority. Then there's the role of media. Western coverage of China often focuses on its challenges, like its debt levels, its aging population, or its geopolitical tensions. While these issues are real, they're only part of the story. What's often missing is the bigger picture, China's ability to adapt, innovate, and overcome obstacles. For example, when China faced a slowdown in economic growth, it didn't just sit back, it doubled down on high-tech industries, green energy, and domestic consumption. When the US imposed sanctions on Chinese tech companies, China accelerated its efforts to become self-reliant in semiconductor and other critical technologies. Another factor is education. China is producing more STEM graduates than any other country, and it's investing heavily in research and development. In fact, China now spends more on R&D than the entire European Union. This isn't just about money, it's about a long-term vision to dominate the industries of the future. So, why does the West underestimate China? It's a combination of cultural bias, selective media coverage, and a failure to recognize the scale and speed of China's transformation. But here's the thing, Underestimating China is a big mistake. It's a mistake that could cost the West dearly in terms of economic competitiveness, technological leadership, and global influence. The reality is that China is no longer just a participant in the global system. It's shaping that system. And if the West wants to remain relevant, it needs to wake up to this reality. Here's the bottom line. China is not just a rising power. It's already a global leader in production, technology, and innovation. The West can no longer afford to underestimate it. Instead, we should be learning from China's successes and preparing for a future where China plays an even bigger role on the world stage. So, what do you think? Is China's rise a threat, an opportunity, or both? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and do all of that shit. Since this is a new channel and I'm still testing things out, let me know if I can fix some stuff. See ya!